Listen carefully. This video demands your full attention. Have you noticed how much of your power has silently slipped away, unnoticed, leaving you weaker than you realize? You have been leaking your strength like water through a cracked vessel, and you never noticed the damage. Every time you gave your attention to someone who did not deserve it, you offered them a fragment of your inner power. Every time you justified yourself to those determined to misunderstand, you surrendered control over your own mind. This is a law that the timid never grasp, and the formidable never forget. Your focus is not a trivial gift. It is the rarest treasure you possess. Yet, you have been scattering it on those who would not lift a finger to defend you. Machiavelli grasped this centuries ago. The ruler who chases will stumble. The one who holds back will endure. Tonight, you will begin to understand the discipline that separates sovereigns from the desperate, the calculated icy mastery of withholding your presence. Once this skill is internalized, no one will ever manipulate you again. This is the philosophy of silence. This is why Machiavelli never pursued. Niccolò Machiavelli observed the rise and collapse of empires from the shadows of Florence. He scrutinized rulers, cardinals, and generals with the precision of a surgeon examining a body. And through it all, one truth resonated louder than any clash of armies. Those who chase are defeated. Those who hold their ground conquer. Machiavelli never trusted fairness. He measured outcomes, and history confirms it. Those who reserved their presence became magnetic, while those who gave it freely faded into the background. The prince who reacted to every insult appeared insecure. The prince who answered every critique seemed weak. But the prince who maintained silence, who allowed adversaries to shout into the void, became feared. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a declaration. It proclaims that you operate on a plane unreachable to them. It announces that their existence does not demand your attention. This is why Machiavelli counseled leaders to embody both the fox and the lion. The fox is cunning enough to detect the traps. The lion is powerful enough to disregard battles unworthy of its strength. Most men today are neither. They are dogs chasing every passing shadow, barking at every movement, exhausting themselves for nothing. You will not be that man. You will see that true authority is never loud. True authority is measured in quiet. True authority explains nothing. It just exists, and the world bends around it. When you grasp the art of silence, you no longer play the games others set for you. You construct your own arena. And in your arena, victory is achieved not by reacting, but by standing still. Consider what unfolds in the mind of someone you ignore. This is dark psychology in its purest form. When acknowledgement is denied, the brain triggers panic. Neuroscience labels this social rejection. The same neural pathways ignite as if the body were struck. They feel it in their chest, in their gut, and it cannot be evaded. Your absence becomes a shadow that stalks their thoughts. They replay every encounter, searching for missteps. They rise in the night wondering where they failed. They draft messages they never send, practice dialogues that will never unfold. You have become an echo in their mind. This is the silent power you wield by merely withdrawing your presence. The human mind is built for recognition, for validation, for engagement. Deny someone this, and you ignite obsession. They scramble to regain your notice. They alter their behavior, seeking a reaction. They doubt themselves, and all of this occurs while you remain unmoved. This is not cruelty. It is comprehension of the human mechanism and its strategic application. The feeble clamor for attention. The strong leverage its absence. When you ignore an adversary, you deny them closure. Closure is a reward they have not earned. Instead, you leave them suspended in uncertainty, trapped in doubt, diminished in stature from the moment they confronted you. This is the cold calculus of power. The sharpest retribution is not vengeance. It is irrelevance, bestowed simply by treating them as though they were air. There is an art to strategic withdrawal. Not every absence is power. To vanish without consequence requires mastery. Absence can signify weakness. Withdrawal signals command. The adept can occupy a room yet remain detached. He may sit among people, yet his essence is elsewhere. He observes, but is not touched. This is not a performance to feign, it is a state to embody. Strategic withdrawal demands selective presence. You do not disperse your energy across every argument, every minor conflict, every unworthy demand for attention. You conserve yourself like a finely honed blade, drawn only when victory is certain. Most men exhaust themselves, scattering their presence, answering every call, replying to every provocation, wasting their energy on trivialities. In doing so, they dissolve into the ordinary. You will not. You will hold yourself apart. You will reserve your attention like a treasure. The effect is inevitable. The rare becomes desired. The scarce draws pursuit. Every moment you hold yourself back, every glance you withhold, every word left unsaid amplifies your power. This is the foundation of mastery. You will learn to move like water and strike like shadow, unseen but impossible to ignore when the time is right. This is not a lesson in cruelty. It is a blueprint for sovereignty over your own mind and energy. You will learn to shape reality without touching it, to bend influence through omission, to command through indifference. This is the first step toward becoming untouchable. Most men drain themselves by being endlessly reachable. They live with their phone in hand, responding to every vibration, every notification, every call as if it were an emergency. They jump into every argument, every disagreement, every minor challenge that crosses their path. And slowly, without realizing it, they dilute themselves. When you are constantly available, you become predictable. When you are predictable, you become ordinary. And ordinary has no power. Power lives in scarcity. When you can be reached at any moment, your presence loses weight. But when you choose absence with intention, you become uncommon. And what is uncommon pulls attention without asking for it. This is not a theory. This is a law. Practice it with precision. Let the phone ring without answering. Let messages remain unopened. Allow space to form around you. Let others wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why you are not reacting. The uncertainty you create will speak louder than any explanation you could give. Emotional distance is not cruelty. It is defense. It is the act of protecting your internal world from those who have not earned entry. Your mind, your energy, your focus are not public property. They are protected ground. Only those who demonstrate respect, loyalty, and value deserve access. Everyone else encounters a barrier. And here is the paradox most people never understand. The more you withhold, the more valuable you become. The more you pull back, the more others lean forward. You are not vanishing, you are rising. And as you rise, the chaos below fades into background noise, smaller, weaker, irrelevant. Not everyone deserves engagement. Most do not even deserve acknowledgement. They deserve nothing at all. You must learn to identify who should be erased from your attention entirely. First are your enemies. These are the ones who actively wish for your failure. They smile in front of you and sabotage behind you. They watch your progress with resentment and wait for cracks to appear. Machiavelli understood that a ruler must recognize his enemies but never dignify them with recognition. The moment you respond to an enemy, you elevate them. You announce that they have the power to disturb your peace. But when you refuse to acknowledge them, you strip them of oxygen. They become insignificant figures shouting into a void, swinging at something they cannot reach. Next are the critics. These are not builders. They are observers who live on the sidelines. They create nothing, risk nothing, and contribute nothing. Their role is to comment, to judge, to tear down what others have the courage to construct. Engaging with critics is a descent. It pulls you into their world, where noise matters more than results. Let them speak. Let them complain. Their words evaporate, while your actions leave permanent marks. Then there are the energy drainers. These are the ones who feed on your availability. Their lives are filled with problems, drama, and emotional chaos, and they seek to plug into your attention to survive. They disguise dependence as friendship, but in reality, they consume without giving. Remove them without ceremony. No explanations, no apologies. You are not obligated to save those who refuse to save themselves. Understand this clearly. Every reaction you give to people who do not matter steals from your mission. Every minute spent on their distractions is a minute taken from your growth. A powerful man does not engage in every conflict presented to him. He chooses his battles with calculation and allows the rest to collapse under their own weight. Silence is not inaction. Silence is dominance. It is the most aggressive position you can take without lifting a finger. Now comes the hardest part. Indifference must be trained. Ignoring others sounds simple, but executing it is difficult because your emotions will fight back. Disrespect triggers anger. Insults ignite the ego. Your body urges you to respond, to defend, to assert yourself. This is where most men fail. They understand the concept, but cannot withstand the feeling. Mastery requires more. You must learn to remain unmoved. This is not suppression. This is transcendence. The Stoics described it as a state where the external world loses the ability to penetrate the inner citadel. Machiavelli described it as disciplined self-command, the ability to act with clarity instead of emotion. Begin with small tests. When someone provokes you, pause, breathe. Observe the reaction rise within you, then allow it to dissolve without expression. Keep your posture relaxed. Keep your face neutral. Become still. Repeat this until emotional neutrality becomes natural. A man who reacts automatically is a controlled man. His strings are visible. Anyone can pull them. Anyone can manipulate him. He is easy to read, easy to provoke, easy to defeat. But the man who has mastered indifference becomes unreachable. Insults pass through him without effect. Betrayal results in quiet removal, not confrontation. He does not explain himself. He does not seek validation. His strength does not come from the outside. It is self-contained. This discipline is forged, not inherited. You will fail. There will be moments where emotion takes over. That is part of the process. What matters is correction. Each time you regain control, you reinforce the habit. Each time you choose restraint, you harden your defenses. Layer by layer, you become impenetrable. Eventually, nothing gets through. Now understand the broader game. Every social interaction is a contest of positioning. Most people are unaware they are playing. They move emotionally, reactively, without foresight. They respond to every challenge and defend every insult, and in doing so, they lose leverage. The true strategist understands that the most powerful move is often stillness. When you ignore someone deliberately, you force them to act. They must reach out. They must explain. They must seek your attention. The balance of power shifts instantly. In relationships, the one who needs less control holds the advantage. This is not bitterness. It is reality. When you stop chasing, stop justifying, stop looking for approval, you become the anchor point. Others begin to revolve around you. In business, emotional detachment wins negotiations. Desperation leaks through tone, posture, timing. Calm signals abundance. It signals that you have options, that you can walk away. This is how leverage is built. In social structures, those who do not beg for acceptance rise above those who do. While others compete for attention and engage in petty disputes, you remain detached, elevated, observant. People notice restraint. They sense it even if they cannot explain it. Respect follows mystery. This is social strategy at its highest level. Victory does not come from constant action. It comes from control. You win by allowing others to exhaust themselves while you conserve energy. You win by being unreadable, unpredictable, unreachable. You win by refusing to play on terms designed to weaken you. The contest never stops. Every room you enter, every conversation you step into, every silence you allow or break, The board is already set. Pieces are moving whether you acknowledge it or not. The only real uncertainty is your position on that board. Are you directing the flow, or are you being pushed across the squares by forces you barely notice? Most men never realize where they stand, because they fall into a quiet trap that looks harmless on the surface, but rots power from the inside. That trap is caring too much, caring about opinions, caring about reactions, caring about how they are perceived. Attention, when mismanaged, becomes a shackle, and the moment your sense of worth depends on external eyes, the lock snaps shut. This is how the downfall begins. Men wake up scanning their memories for approval. They replay words like surveillance footage, searching for hidden meanings, imagined slights, or missed validation. They adjust their behavior in real time, editing themselves to fit the room, softening their edges so no one feels uncomfortable. At night, instead of resting, their mind keeps negotiating with ghosts of conversations that already ended. This is not awareness. This is captivity wearing a respectable mask. The moment you place your emotional stability in the hands of others, you surrender control of your inner world. A compliment lifts you high. A careless remark sends you crashing down. Your mood, your confidence, your direction are no longer self-governed. They are outsourced. You become dependent on feedback from people who forget your name the moment you leave their sight. That is not connection. That is submission. Machiavelli saw this flaw clearly. He understood that a ruler who bends himself to be universally liked loses all authority. When you chase affection, you dilute respect. When you fear disapproval, you hesitate when decisiveness is required. Power cannot survive on approval. It suffocates under it. The hunger to be liked poisons judgment and replaces strategy with anxiety. Dark psychology explains why this grip is so strong. From the earliest years, validation is used as a reward system. Praise becomes currency. Acceptance becomes proof of worth. Slowly, quietly, the mind is trained to look outward for permission to feel whole. Breaking this conditioning feels like stepping into cold water. Everything in you resists. But the man who succeeds in doing so becomes immune to manipulation. Praise cannot buy him. Criticism cannot corner him. He moves according to an internal axis that does not shift with the crowd. That is independence in its purest form. Freedom does not arrive with a dramatic announcement. It begins with awareness. You start noticing the subtle moments where you seek approval. The pause before speaking, when you soften your truth to avoid discomfort. The hesitation before action, when you imagine judgment instead of consequence. Each time you recognize it, the grip loosens. Each time you act without asking permission, the chains weaken. Caring excessively is not empathy. It is vulnerability in the wrong direction. Strength is not indifference to everything. Strength is precision. A powerful man invests his concern into his mission, his craft, his future. He wastes none of it on spectators who have no stake in his journey. Understand this distinction, and you will feel weight fall away that you did not even realize you were carrying. Now, everything converges here. This is the final refinement. The state where all restraint, all silence, all discipline hardens into something unmistakable. You are no longer easily reached. You are becoming untouchable. This is not ego. This is design. You are engineering a self that cannot be hijacked by noise, baited by provocation, or derailed by irrelevant voices. The untouchable man has a presence that cannot be imitated. His movements are deliberate. His words are sparse but land with weight. He does not announce his strength. It is felt before he speaks. There is clarity in his gaze, a stillness that signals he is no longer trapped by illusions that govern ordinary behavior. He does not chase attention because attention gravitates toward him naturally. He does not debate fools because silence outperforms argument. He does not hunt validation because his standards come from within. This evolution is slow and unforgiving. It is built in moments no one applauds. Every ignored message, every unreturned insult, Every exit from pointless drama adds density to your core. Each refusal to engage lifts you above the chaos. When others lash out and find nothing to hit, they reveal their own weakness. The untouchable man is not emotionally frozen. He is disciplined. His warmth is intentional, not automatic. His loyalty is earned, not assumed. His energy is allocated like a scarce resource. Only what aligns with his purpose receives access. Everything else meets silence. This is the essence of ruthless power as Machiavelli understood it. A leader who can be wounded emotionally will eventually be destroyed by those who learn where to strike. A leader who can be guided by approval will be steered into traps by those who understand his hunger. But the leader who requires nothing from others becomes uncontrollable. This is not cruelty. This is sovereignty. There is a territory within you that answers to no one. Your thoughts form its borders. Your emotions are governed by you alone. Your attention is its treasure, and you decide who crosses the threshold. From this moment forward, you abandon reflexive reaction. You act only when it benefits you. You stop justifying yourself. Outcomes speak louder than explanations. You stop pursuing. You become someone others pursue naturally. This is the shift. This is the state of being untouchable. Now comes the call, the moment where the old patterns end. You have spent enough time shrinking yourself for comfort. You have invested energy into people who returned nothing. You have tried to clarify yourself to those who preferred misunderstanding. You have looked for validation in places that were empty. That chapter closes here. The man who steps forward now is sharpened. He carries strategic coldness without losing direction. He understands that attention is a form of wealth, and he guards it fiercely. He knows silence is not retreat, but dominance expressed quietly. He understands that ignoring is not hatred. It is protection and control. This is the awakening, the moment you reclaim authorship of your life. No more reacting on cue like a marionette. No more defending yourself to those who have already chosen their narrative. No more burning hours on people who would never spend a second on you. From now on, you move with intent. You listen more than you speak. You engage only when it advances your objectives. The static of the world fades while your focus sharpens on what actually matters. Your progress, your discipline, your legacy. Those who once influenced your emotions will sense the shift. They will probe. They will provoke. They will attempt to pull you back into familiar patterns, but they will find nothing. Your expression remains neutral. Your silence complete. They will exhaust themselves trying to disturb a man who no longer acknowledges their existence. They become echoes with no source. This is power stripped to its core. This is Machiavellian mastery translated into modern life. This is the ruthless discipline of ignoring that separates those who command from those who comply. You now hold knowledge most will never seek, let alone understand. Apply it carefully. Apply it with precision. Build an internal empire that no external force can invade. If this message has lit something inside you, mark it. Write the words, "I am untouchable" below, and make the commitment real. If these insights have value, show it. Support the path. Stay connected so you do not miss the next lesson in power, psychology, and self-mastery. The crown is not given. It is claimed. Step forward and take it.